The other times, the dates we were given, there was just very short notice, and we had other commitments. We both have profiles that are regional. And so there was always an intention to come to this hearing and answer your questions and demonstrate the accountability, which we absolutely agree you deserve. We know how important our platforms are. We know that they service the vast majority of Filipino people. We know that they're used for commerce, for social connection, for business, for government affairs. We know how important they are. And we believe that we do have the responsibility to show up and answer these questions. I would also just point out there's a lot of other various forms of accountability that we have. We publish transparency reports that look at how many government requests we've acted on. We have 11 different channels for the government to report to us community standards violations or request data or any other problems that they're having, if there's account hacks or anything like that. There are 11 different channels that we have set up with various agencies of the Philippines government and law enforcement, we're accountable to every single one of those channels and agencies. And beyond that, I think that, we try to do the best we can to answer the questions as forthrightly as we can, to explain frankly, very complex and sometimes nuanced issues the best we can. And I'm always happy to do more of that. And if there are additional conversations we need to have on these topics, on regulation, we're happy to do that. I also just want to point out, and my colleague Rob has already done this, but I'll reiterate it. We know the election's coming. We have been preparing for this for a very long time. In the 2022 elections, Kamara gave us an award afterwards for the collaboration that we had and for the work that we did protecting the integrity of the elections on our platforms. We absolutely are doing that work again, and I just want to assure the committee that that's the case. Do you have anything you want to add?
Mr. Chair, with your indulgence, I would just add, sir, and with a little bit of humor, but this is absolutely fact-based. My WhatsApp says otherwise in terms of an inability of Filipino agencies to get a hold of me. I think my last message last night before going to bed was a conversation I was having with NBI. If you're having an issue getting a hold of us, I think that's something we can pretty easily remedy. The point being, however, that MPI, Meta Platforms Inc., operates the platforms. Our office here is happy to help coordinate with Rafi and I, others based in Singapore. It occurs to me, while I have the privilege of being in this chamber, I've appeared in the Senate many, many times, so I am grateful for the opportunity to be in the House today. To your point, it is my first time here in the House, but I've had the privilege of representing MPI, previously Facebook, here in the Republic of the Philippines for over 6 years now. And I hope that our relationship simply continues to grow stronger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, respectfully, and thank you. We appreciate those responses, and we do not doubt that you had the intention to attend, but I just wanted to point it out as an example of how difficult it would be for us to demand accountability. Now, on that question, on that point, that you have 11 different avenues to coordinate with your law enforcement, I hope you understand that's our point. These 11 different avenues are going straight, I'm assuming, to either Facebook Philippines or Meta Platforms Inc. Is that correct? You're saying that these 11 avenues are going directly to you, right? Through your WhatsApp personally, and you are an employee.
No, sir. I apologize. Mr. Chair, if I may, I apologize for breaking etiquette there. The daily sort of informal interactions that I have with the many alphabet soup agencies here represented, and I say that as someone who 6 years ago would be on that side of the table, your side of the table. Those are not the formal reporting channels.
Right.
The formal reporting channels go to our content review teams based either in Singapore or the United States.
Which is, through your Honorable Chairman, precisely our point. The content regulation is not being done by anyone legally accountable in the Philippines. All of these avenues of recourse that you're giving our law enforcement agencies, they have to go to either Facebook Singapore or Meta Platforms Inc. Or, in fact, Facebook Singapore will only serve as a coordinating office to Meta Platforms Inc., if I'm understanding this correctly. So, can you just correct me if for this statement? that if Facebook Philippines does not control the platform, there is no Meta-affiliated entity directly accountable in the Philippines.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, we're specifically talking about content, then again, the platforms are operated by Meta Platforms Incorporated in the United States.
Precisely. So there is no Meta-affiliated entity responsible for the content regulation in the Philippines.
Correct.
There. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for clarifying, because it seems to us that for us to craft meaningful legislation, we have to take into consideration the fact that there is no legal entity here.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Congressman, I just want to, I would, if I could, take a step back here. I think that what future conversations that we should focus on are, what are the objectives you're trying to achieve that you don't feel like you're achieving now? I think that we have seen similar requests in other countries, which emphasize a similar point that you're making here. But, you know, I think we've proven through our collaboration that Rob has with law enforcement, through the collaboration that my teams and our other teams have with the government, with the ICT, with Comelec, you know, that we are extremely responsive, that we get to the important things quickly, that we act on reports from the government and good faith trusted partnerships that we have in the country. And so I think that, you know, as a global platform, we have to have global systems in place. There's no other way we can operate it at the scale of 3.2 billion people every day. So if there are specific issues that you feel like we need to address and do better, let's absolutely collaborate to address those issues. But I can say, and I feel very confident in saying, there's an immense amount of connective tissue between Meta Platforms and all the platforms we operate and the companies that are incorporated under Meta Platforms and the Philippines government as a whole. And that relationship that is broad and deep, both, has produced very strong results in terms of collaboration and in terms of removing harmful content, in terms of addressing misinformation, and as I mentioned before, when it came to the last round of elections, it even produced an award from Comelec. And so I think we feel pretty confident that we have the right structure in place, but if there are specific issues that you'd like to address and specific regulations that you'd like to work on, we are very happy to sit down and talk to you about those.
Thank you, through the Honorable Chairman. We appreciate that response, but as we mentioned, what we're trying to come up with here is meaningful legislation to curb fake news and misinformation. So while we do appreciate that Meta Platforms Inc. and Facebook Singapore are very responsive, what we're trying to do here is to come up with, of course, you have to understand, we're not only dealing with Meta, we're also dealing with Google, we're also dealing with TikTok, ByteDance, right? So we're trying to come up with meaningful legislation that can consolidate our issues with all three. So while we do appreciate, again, it bears repeating that we appreciate the responsiveness of Facebook Singapore and Meta Platform Inc. through your respective offices, it doesn't skirt the issue for us that there is no baseline legal responsibility within the Philippines. There is no Meta-affiliated entity within the Philippines. And that's what I believe makes it hard. To just drive that point, perhaps, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a quick side question to maybe one of our officials from the CICC. For example, to our CICC, when we have requests for takedown from Facebook, what is the general turnaround time? First and foremost, do you acknowledge that Facebook is very responsive in your requests?
Yes, Your Honor.
So they are very responsive, and that, again, we do not doubt that. But what's the turnaround time? Is it fast? Is it slow?
Usually it will be from 6 hours to 24, most of the time.
And in 6 hours to 24 hours, that would be sufficient time for something to go viral, correct?
That's very correct.
And by then, usually the damage is done, especially when we're talking about public reputation.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I think, thank you for that. So I think that's what we're trying to drive at here. We're trying to work with a system that would make it easier for coordination, but that's besides the point right now. Moving on, since we're beyond already the structure, we understand that the Philippines, there's there's an acknowledgement that there's no Philippine-based entity. I just want to go back to something you were discussing with Congresswoman Castro, that you